have the opportunity to talk about what it means to get in your bag with these ladies. Y'all familiar with Karen Civil? y'all know Sheena Allen? Y'all know Jasmine Crowe? And Krystal Garner. So without further ado, y'all make some noise. Get up on your feet. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Put your hands together. Let's go. All right. What's up, y'all? Hey, ladies.
Hi.
Hey. Meow, 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 meow. Y'all gonna hear me do that a lot, okay? Hey, Sheena. Hey, Jasmine, Krystal, Karen. Wow, Anissa. Hey. Okay, so I know y'all already wooed and yayed and all that stuff, but for those of you guys who aren't familiar, I'm going to give you all a chance to introduce yourselves, because I could gas you all day, because this is a treat for me. So, Sheena, I'm going to kick it off with you.
Hi, I am Sheena Allen. I'm the founder and CEO of Capway, which is a fintech company where the core of what we do is digital banking. Oh, that's good for me.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Crowe. I'm the founder and CEO of Gooder. We are a technology company that's focused on ending hunger. And so we leverage technology to combat food waste. And we think that it is a shame that nationwide tonight, 1 in 6 people is going to go to bed hungry, while every year in this country alone, we waste about 72 billion pounds of perfectly good food. And to give you guys some perspective, America wastes more food in a day than what the entire continent of Africa consumes in a month. So we waste a lot of food, and we have people that are going hungry, and we think that shouldn't be like that. So that's what we're solving. Thanks.
That is a whole vibe. That is a whole vibe. I don't know how to follow that, man. I'm just joking. I'm Krystal Garner, also known as KG. Let me do it in a different order. I am the Atlanta channel influencer for Bombay Bramble, which is under Bombay Sapphire. I'm also SVP of BAM Creative. And then last but not least, I'm your general manager for Trap Music Museum. Right across the street, and if you get a chance, make sure you check out the photo booths and the experiences in the back. We have curated some dope things alongside with Rich Bazaar of BAM Creative, so make sure you check it out, take some pictures, follow us, support us, and we will be doing something later at Trap Music Museum for all the attendees, so pull up on me.
Hi, everybody. Karen Civil, CEO of Always Civil Enterprise, which is a marketing and branding agency. Our clients range from, at one point, Hillary Clinton, Beats by Dre, Nipsey Hussle, Young Jeezy, to YG. Also, CEO of Live Civil, which has a few facets, which is philanthropy and also about women empowerment with the philanthropy aspect. We have Live Civil Day in Brooklyn, Elizabeth, New Jersey, and also in Haiti, Haiti is where my parents were born, Brooklyn is where I was born, Elizabeth, New Jersey is where I was raised. So it's about pushing the importance of the power of, I love a hype man. It's about pushing the importance of the power of play and technology as well. So we have our own computer lab, Live Civil School. Recently, we actually went into a high school. Yeah, so that's that.
Y'all, it is oozing. Okay? It is oozing woman air across the board up here. Can I see all my women in here? Put your hands up.
Yes, ladies.
Yes, we are here, we are present. So, I mean, it's obvious we heard what you all do right here, but I gotta know, when it came to building your brand, what did you feel like your responsibility was to not only just the world, but your community specifically in creating the brands that you have now? Let's start with Jasmine.
Wow.
Oh yeah, drop mic.
Well, you know, if I've I've been in Atlanta now, gosh, I'm coming up on 9 years. I don't know how long I have to be here to say I'm like from Atlanta, but I've been here for 9 years, and I started feeding people that were experiencing homelessness on the streets. And that's actually, 5 years later, how the idea for Gooder came to me. And I think when I was trying to build the brand, I wanted to build with authenticity. Like, I really wanted people to understand that my idea for the company didn't just come from like a hackathon. I didn't think about it in school. Like, I really was working and living in that space and working with people that were homeless, working with people that didn't know where their next meal was coming from. And so I think that was really important to me in building the brand, is just to be authentic, and also to like not take money from just anybody, and just like make sure that, I'm big on energy. So I just wanted everybody that was at the table with me to be deserving of it. And I think that's just kind of the big things I focus on, just being yourself, being authentic, and then also just paying attention to energy, because every time I've not done that, it always has come back to bite me. I'm like, I knew I shouldn't have worked with that person. I knew I shouldn't have done that. So now I really focus on the energy aspect.
Yes, love that. Sheena, I'm gonna toss it to you, because we're seeing tech take over banking. And so I can only imagine where and what you felt like your responsibility was to the community as well.
Crazy enough, it actually has changed for the better. So originally when I started Capway, the idea was behind doing digital banking for people who are unbanked, underbanked, which came from my background of being from Mississippi. As the company grew, there were a few things that changed, mainly because I would get emails and or responsibilities that I would see in different communities. So, for example, one thing we have now is an initiative at Capway called Culture Meets Money. And we started that because what I realized was, even though as a black woman, and as a black person, we had a lot of culture, and we do a lot in our culture, but I felt like we never really owned it or monetized it to the degree that we deserved. And so Culture Meets Money, we do a lot of different things, but one of the major things that we do is, starting actually this summer of 2022, we will have an internship at Capway where it's strictly for Black Americans to get into fintech. So that's one. And I would say the second thing that has become really huge for us has actually been Black women. So when I started the company, literally my mind was totally somewhere else. But for one, in tech, Black women get less than 1% of funding. So that's itself is an issue. But also, I feel like no matter what order you put them in, usually Black women are at the bottom. And so as a Black woman who owns a fintech company, who owns banking, I feel there is a sense of responsibility to me to extend what I have learned, my opportunities, to other Black women when it comes to money and getting money.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Now, Karen, we are in a space of, like, this whole conference is built to make sure people like us recognize technology as another avenue, because like we've heard all day long, a lot of our options as Black people have always been you either rap or you go to the league. And so you work with Girls Who Code, Black Girls
I
Code.
didn't work with them. I just donated to them.
You donate to them.
COVID, yeah.
So when we're talking about spaces like that, tell me why it was so important to you to donate to a foundation like them, when we have ample people at our fingertips. But specifically, I think you are a bomb-ass Black woman. And so to see you support something like that, it only makes me want to do the same. So tell me why that was important.
I pretty much started my career, for me, which was internet-based. You can say in the coding space, kind of, which was like, if people here are familiar, remember GeoCities, the website, and like Yahoo groups and things like that. So I started in 1997, I created my first website, which was for the Backstreet Boys. I was a really big fan. Y'all laugh all y'all want. I keep the Backstreet Boy pride alive. I do not care. But I started a fan site for them in 1997, and interestingly enough, it's still up. I still update it on my free time, but it was something, I was a fan of them. I tried out for MTV Fanatics. Unfortunately, I didn't win. I got second place, which let me know the internet can give me what I want. And Jive Records, their label at the time, actually flew me and my mom out because they were familiar with the website, because it was the #1 fan site for them, which my site was actually more updated than their real site. So they flew me out to Toronto to meet them, and from there I realized I want to turn my hobby into a career. So that's why it's always important for me to give back to avenues like that, from down to my computer lab in Haiti, and just like during COVID, I knew the importance of, there are going to be kids at home, or just things are happening, to make sure, while everyone there's nothing wrong with it, donating towards the Black Lives Matter and like some of the bigger organizations, not for the smaller organizations to get overlooked. So that was just important to me, because that's the field I feel like I started my career and avenue in, because I do have 2 older brothers who followed the career paths my parents wanted for them. One is a surgeon, the other is a detective. And for me, they were like, we want you to be a lawyer. I'm like, no. That's not what I want to do. We need a doctor. I'm like, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to do something in the internet space. They didn't necessarily understand it, but I did. So that's why it's always important for me to do things in this space, so people know, people who look like us, we have other options.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Y'all make some noise. Yeah. Now, Krystal, my girl KG, we're walking through this wonderful experience where it's trapped out in here. I gotta give it to the Trap Music Museum. Have y'all, we're checking in again. Y'all enjoyed the ambiance in here? Okay. So with that being said, we're constantly creating experience for people, for cities nationwide, specifically Atlanta, because we have so much to offer, and people are always pulling from us. Say it with me. Yep. So how do we balance culture, technology, entrepreneurship? Because I know how I'm familiar with you. We're from the TV. We saw you on television. We saw you win the competition with. What was it? I'm sorry.
The Grand Hustle.
Yes, the Grand Hustle.
It's still up if y'all want to watch it.
Please watch it. It's spectacular. But how do we balance all of those things responsibly in order to produce experiences?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, just to piggyback on everyone's stories and talking about just being authentic. Authenticity is so important to us. That's even with my own story, right? You said we either want to rap or go to the league. Growing up, I thought either I could just be a model or someone that was booked to be a part of an experience, versus being a person that curates the experience. So, finding out that was an opportunity for me through doing the show, phenomenal. And I will continue going and growing as much as I can. And as far as the museum is concerned, how we balance that is just making sure that we stay true to the stories that we're telling, right? How many of you love, and be honest, and I'm talking about if you haven't been to Trap Music Museum, how many of us go to a museum at least once a month? Raise your hand. Exactly. Now, how many of you have gone to an experience like a Candytopia or an egg room or anything like that? Raise your hand, right? We like experiences, we like experiential, we like doing new things. So we wanted to make sure that we told the story for us, by us, the way we wanted to tell it, and kept it authentically true. We wanted to also make sure that you understood the struggles that these artists overcame to become powerful entrepreneurs that have created a subgenre of hip hop, which is the #1 genre right now. Everyone listens to trap music. Raise your hand if you listen to trap music. Hello, exactly. Now raise your hand if you've been to Trap Music Museum. Oh, look at y'all, I love it. And if you haven't, you could come there tonight. But for real though, we just wanted to make sure that when you went into the space, you felt it. And I'll tell the story of this artist, Krystal, who got signed to Nas's label. He came in, he walked into grandma's living room, AKA the bando, and he started crying. And I'm like, what, you okay? You need anything? Like, what happened? And he said, I literally just left this experience. And that moment showed me that what we are doing is absolutely correct. We wanted to showcase a safe place where parents can also come in. There has been parents that have brought their teenagers in to show them lifestyles that they may have grown up in, or the artists that they're listening to have grown up with and overcame, and different mugshots and how they maybe got incarcerated and messed up with something, but they still overcame. So we are able to curate an experience that is true to culture. It teaches you about culture, It's exponential, and now we're moving into a space coming soon, hopefully 2022, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, where we'll have a lot more technology in it. We've been having calls and negotiations and walkthroughs and meetings to have AR, VR, different experiences that will continue to keep us innovative. So how do you do all that? Just always staying ahead of the curve, being innovative, participating in ventures like this, recruiting talent that are in rooms like this so they can continue to help us tell the story as authentically as possible.
Well, I'm excited about that. When do tickets go on sale for that? Okay.
Tickets are always on sale, sis. They're always on sale.
Have my VR goggles ready, because not only am I in the trap, but now I'm in the trap again. We love it. But speaking of integration, Jasmine, I want to toss it to you because, yes, you've been all about feeding the community and making sure that, you know, we're paying attention to the needs of those that are around us. But specifically, why was it important for you to integrate tech into your brand and your foundation? Because it's one thing I think we see a lot of times around the holidays, we see the news stations covering all the different food drives going back. For you, it's 24/7, 365. So talk to us a little bit about the tech integration for you.
Yeah, I think in this country there's a big difference between access to food and access to meals. And what Gooder really strives is...
Pause. Go back. Say that again. That was a bar. There's a difference between what and what?
Access to food and access to meals. And what I talked about, and I talk about often, is just volunteering at food banks and just giving people all kind of food that didn't make meals and just wondering, like, what are these people going to go home and eat? And so when I started thinking about technology, it was really about having data. So now when people come to Gooder pop-ups, we have data. We have their emails, we have their zip codes, family sizes. We're able to send them menus of all the food that they can make, all the meals that they can make. We can now start letting them know via text messages where we're going to be at, how they can get registered. We also we just really, if you told us any data within our technology, any zip code in Atlanta, we could talk about the economic impact we've brought to that particular community. So how much food we've recovered, how many meals we've provided, what that means for CO2 emissions that we've helped to reduce, you know, the number of children that we've fed, and it just really helps us as we start to think about expanding. And you know, the other thing is, if people don't have the top three things people spend money on are often housing, food, transportation. And so a lot of times if people don't have access to food, they don't have access to cars. And so what we're trying to do with technology is just be able to bridge that gap. So we really are going into more communities, being closer to where the need is. And it just really, I think it's all about data. And that's what I didn't realize until, actually, I think Justin Dawkins is here. When I started talking to him and Jewel about what I was building, they were very clear to say, you know, this is also a data play. So I think that's really what it was all about, is just trying to solve a problem and really have the data to back it up on why this is important.
Absolutely. Now, Sheena, I mentioned earlier that we are trying to change the way that young people, young adults are looking at not only tech spaces, but alternatives to what they're accustomed to in the environments that they grow up in. So how has it been, even going through a pandemic, reaching younger audiences, specifically for Capway? I know a lot of people are tired of Zoom. They're tired of all the virtual stuff, but ultimately that's the future of where we are. And honestly, this question is for all of you, because we've had to completely pivot everything that we're accustomed to, whether it's events, experiences, eliminating waste, and now it's giving financial literacy. You know what I'm saying? People love to make money, but they don't know how to save their money. So, Sheena, I want to start with you.
You know, there's a saying, agree or disagree, that it takes people seeing things to believe it. I think that's the same way it goes back to, we always have the conversation of how many of us had to talk of like financial literacy, like with our parents or like within our households. And most of us haven't. If anything, it was one of those things, well, me personally, like, Dad, can I get $20? And he'd be like, I ain't got no money. It's probably like the deepest the conversation got when it came to financial literacy. So there's a few different things. One, it goes back to me saying, I think it goes back to seeing to believing, especially now in the age of social media. When we think of tech, especially like young tech, we always look at like the Mark Zuckerbergs and people who don't look like us being in their 20s or early 30s and building multi-billion-dollar companies. And I think for the first time within our generation, we're seeing that now for people who look like us. So you have the guys from Squire, who I think their valuation just came in like $750 million, where they're right on the cusp of being a billion-dollar company. You have Calendly, which is actually based here in Atlanta, owned by a black man. It's a billion-dollar company. So I think for the first time we're seeing people that look like us. And I speak of even from like a hip-hop perspective, once again, more so even for me personally. When I, growing up in Mississippi, when I thought of wealth or riches, I thought it was the Jay-Z's and the videos and the rappers and riding the Bentleys. And then I started my tech company, I moved to Silicon Valley, and I understood the difference in rich and wealth. It was two totally different things. And so that's not a knock on like hip hop or anything else, because I'm a huge hip hop fan. It's just that when I grew growing up and seeing that was my idea of riches. And then I would go to Silicon Valley and you hear about the guy who pays $25K for noise ordinance because he catches a helicopter from his office to his house. And it's like, oh, it's $25K, nothing, that's cool. Or Bill Gates, who donates probably more money than any of us will ever see in our life. So it was a difference in that. So I think going to this next generation, social media is going to be huge. Of course, there's the difference in misinformation too, but seeing that is believing it. And once again, it's people who look like everyone on this stage in their 20s, in their 30s, where now it is the 5-year-old, the 10-year-old, the 15-year-old who's like, hey, I can build that tech company at 20 or 32 and build a billion-dollar company and really build wealth.
So for those of y'all who don't know, pre-COVID, I was a high school substitute teacher, and so the teacher in me is jumping out right now because there are so many young people out here who just don't know. It looks good. They're looking at social media. They're looking at the things that are on their fingertips every day. But the minute that you hand them even $5, it's like, oh, let me hit the vending machine, as opposed to what I can do. What can I do with that? But also, with even getting a little bit of money like that, entrepreneurship is super trendy right now. And everybody thinks it looks good because they have the iceberg effect, right? You see all the accolades and all the good stuff, but you don't know all the work that goes in underneath. So as all the entrepreneurs we have up here, how are you able to demand more attention for your brand to the community without it being overwhelming? I'm gonna toss it to anybody because, I mean, I can only imagine starting a whole brand, it's hard. And this is before really social media popped off.
For me, I didn't come into it thinking I need to be a brand, I want to be popular or XYZ. It was just about me being myself. You know, I grew up on Angie Martinez, who's on Hot 97, and Ananda Lewis, who was on Teen Summit. So watching them two being women of color was just something that was mesmerizing to me. So I wanted to do that for myself, being a Haitian American woman. So that was my look into coming into my career. And as I started to gain my platform, I understood, like, with this platform, things come with it. So at first I was doing this like, okay, it was prove my parents wrong, I can turn this into a career. And then from there, it was more like, okay, I'm gonna hit a certain goal, and that goal became like monetary value. But when you get to that, it's like life has more meaning. So now it's like my brand, the conversation around it is not popularity to make a certain amount, is how can I affect change, and change all around, meaning, say for instance, if I happen to do a partnership with a company, a lot of things go into that before a deal can get done. So it's like, besides me coming aboard, it's one of the asks is 3 people who are in your organization, you have to amplify them. And those 3 people have to be minorities. And the minority space are women of color, if it's somebody who may be, I may not be saying the correct terminology for them now, like handicap or something like that, who just may not have the access or are not seen as much. And you have to work with 3 organizations outside of your company who can benefit from your company, as well as donating to a smaller grassroots organization. Because most of the time it's like, hey, we'll donate to, the Red Cross or some large company in your name, where I'm like, no, we need to make sure that we're amplifying those small companies. So it's like, that's the most important part of the brand conversation for me now is, yes, leveraging it where I'm able to go out and do XYZ, but also making sure that there are people around me who are also being amplified and helped with these opportunities as well.
Amen, Jesus. Amen.
I was going to piggyback off that conversation. Oh man, social media, right? I remember there was a time that someone told me to stop posting so much, everything that I got going on and everything that I'm doing and all my wins. And, I allowed that to affect me the wrong way. I stopped. Ooh, that made my voice crack. I stopped and I shouldn't. You should never dim your light for anyone, because what I realized when I went back into my bag of my mindset and how I, just always spew positivity, and then when I went to more being more authentic with my posting, right? So also going into, and stories definitely affected that, because stories allow me to show my actual day, right? It's no longer just a post on my feed of what happened. Now you can see my actual day. So just talking about the struggles as an entrepreneur, the struggles as a high-level executive, and then also showing the accolades and the wins and stuff like that. So just being able to effectively tell the story. But the reason I say I no longer hide anything or, dim my light is not just for myself, but for others. I have so many young women, and I still don't have, a huge following, but you just never know. If you have 200 followers, you don't know, there might be 2 girls following you that grew up in similar circumstances as you, like me, from the hood in Staten Island, Wu-Tang, you know what I'm saying? If y'all haven't heard of Staten Island, it's Wu-Tang. And just being in a bubble where you don't think that there's anything else you can be other than what your environment is. I like to say that I'm a positive reflection of my environment, because I'll never downgrade where I'm from, because it made me who I am. But there might be a young girl who's in that bubble, and she might go to Instagram and see what I have going on and say, wow, I could be an art curator. Wow, I can be a brand influencer. Wow, I could be a basketball player that, is a Model Life XO, shout out to Miss Basketball. Just other things that I have going on that aren't things that some of us couldn't see when we were younger. Rapper go to league, yes, those aspirations and goals, but some of us didn't even see that as an option, right? If you weren't in a certain place where you had access to play on an AAU team and stuff like that, it's like, okay, you may love basketball, but that's not somewhere I can be. So I will never dim a light again, ever in life, because there is 1 or 2 young girls, it could be grown women, it could be a grown man that sees my story and says, wow, I can be that way too. It's possible, because I came from, what did they say? Get it in the mud? What did they say? What did I say? Get it out the mud? Okay, yeah, we don't say that in New York, but okay, get it out the mud. I came from the bottom, and I'm gonna keep soaring, so I will never dim my light, and you should never dim your light as well.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my words together, because it's funny that you say that. There's something that's been on my heart for the last few years when we're talking about being a light. And I think I was in college, and I had an epiphany because somebody handed me a glow stick. And this was when I was going through one of the toughest times. I think my parents were separating, whatever the case was. And I didn't realize until later that in order for that glow stick to shine, what do you have to do first? You gotta break it. And so even in the toughest times, you might be broken down, you might be stepped on. You treat yourself like money. That money might be stepped on, it might be dirty, but it's still worth something. It's still gonna pay for that food, it's still gonna pay for that outfit, there's still value in it. So regardless, just like you said, I'm never gonna dim my light again. And I hope that even after Krystal saying what she just said, you don't either. Because just like technology is still moving. And so that leads me to my next question. Technology is moving at a rapid fucking pace. I said it, put me on record. It's moving fast as hell, okay? And I don't know about y'all, but if my mother asks me one more time, how do I upload something to freaking Facebook, I'm gonna flip a table. So when it comes to y'all's brands, how are you keeping up? Karen, I've actually heard you speak a couple of years ago, and one of the things that resonated with me is it's not about the price, but it's about creating experiences. So staying a thought leader, how do you keep up?
You never stop learning. from, the different social platforms, the websites, the magazines, the different things. It's just learning what's coming. How are they changing their platforms? How it can be utilized towards you and things like that. So especially during COVID, and the pivot happening there, a lot of the business I did was marketing and branding, which would create experiences. And now we're in a world where we're not allowed to have events. So now I have to change how I do things. I know a lot of the time now I'm like, okay, we're gonna spend a lot of our time on the phone, using our devices, using the computer and XYZ. So now I have to change how I create my experiences, saying, okay, we're not gonna be able to go out, it's gonna be able to go this way, but bringing in new clientele who may not be familiar, creating things for them, marketing ideas and branding from there. But that was like one of the biggest things I was excited for and working towards. But it's honestly just understanding each platform when you first started, which I hear a lot of these conversations using this as an example and reference. So many people have issues with like Instagram. Raise your hand if you think they're shadow banning you, you don't get enough likes, what else is there?
And in TikTok terms,
you don't
put a
get enough
finger
likes.
Christina was gonna raise
You
that.
feel like your posts are being hidden. Raise your hand if you feel like your posts are being hidden, shadow banned, and things like that. So it's like a lot of the time people have those conversations on Instagram, but not understanding Instagram doesn't care about a single post right now. So say for 2020, their focus was the Instagram shop, which was making smaller businesses and helping amplify them during COVID. So this year, their focus is Instagram Reels, since they have just now started pushing out partnerships and being able to have influencers monetize on their money. So it's turning it into a business. So that's for me, looking at the Instagram blog, seeing what they're doing, just getting updates from if their CEO's having, if he has some sort of interview on XYZ. So that way, when I know what they're doing, I can then base it on the stuff that I have going on. So it's just honestly continuing to learn these platforms and just never really getting comfortable in that space.
How many of y'all was on MySpace?
Yes.
Was your glitter falling from the sky? Because mine was stuck, okay? My music didn't play. My top friends kept changing. It wasn't my fault. How many Bebo people do we have in here? 3. How many Tumblr people do we have in here? I was never good at it. It's fine. But Instagram, we're pretty solid there. We're pretty solid.
No, wait, to piggyback on what Karen is saying, because you have to really understand this. Every time a new social media comes out or a new update comes out, everyone always has an attitude about it. Always upset. Why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? What you should be doing, though, is figuring out how can you maximize your usage of that platform or that new technology that's been added. We have to be adaptable to change. That's the only way we can continue to stay ahead of the curve. Or you're gonna just be stuck in your same idea that you haven't pushed forward. If you have an idea, it continues to be an idea until you actually do something about it. So therefore, if you know that they have Reels now, that's a focus, then you need to focus on how can you maximize your usage of Reels, right? Saying when TikTok first came out, I still know people that say, I'm not getting on TikTok.
Get on it.
And then I went on there, and especially during COVID, during quarantine, I was on there heavy. And since I didn't have a following there, I took it off of there, and then I put it on my Instagram, and they were going viral. So just understanding different platforms, utilizing it, and using it somehow to benefit you. So always stay ahead of the curve. Reading blogs and seeing if you really want to get forward. We're here for a reason. This panel is here for a reason, for you all to learn something, take something away. If you want to take something away, understand you must always be willing to learn something new and to be adaptable to change. Change is going to happen. Tech is moving. Just got to be with it.
I feel attacked. I'm not gonna hold you.
You don't have TikTok?
Yeah, I am on TikTok, and y'all know it. If you follow me, then you know. TikTok was my steez at the beginning of COVID. I was learning 1-2 steps like a child every day. Me and my brother matching outfits. I'm not lying. It was a thing. But I know there's probably an overarching question in here for a lot of people who are familiar with you guys. But when it comes to people wanting to work with you guys, specifically in the tech spaces, Jasmine, I want to start with you. What does it look like when you're looking for potential business partners for Gooder?
Oh, well, one, I definitely care that people care. I think that's the big thing. And I also am very cognizant about just checking boxes for people. I think last year, what was it, $50 billion was pledged, and everyone all of a sudden cared about Black women, and they cared about Black people and equity. And I would always say when people would call me, well, are you just doing this because of George Floyd, or do you really care about us? Is this going to be something you're going to do long term? And I actually I know Sheena and I are both Dell ambassadors, American Express ambassadors, and so I know with me, I negotiated that for multiple years because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't just for 2020. I was like, I think I'm going to be in this space for a long time. Let's work together for the next 3 to 4 years. And so I think those kind of partnerships that are long term. I liked what Karen said about partnerships that you have, making sure that they do other things. Like Thursday, Gooder is opening our first grocery store inside of a Title I school, and I'm really excited about that. And it's just so exciting. 65% of those kids live in poverty, and so when we started talking to potential partners, it was very clear to say to them, hey, we're going to need, and it's a clothing, you guys, I can't speak too much on it because it'll be Thursday, but it's a clothing closet and really a grocery store. Freezers, refrigerators, just anything you could think of in a grocery store is all in this school. And so as we were thinking about partnerships, it's like letting them know this can't just be a one-time thing, that these kids are going to be hungry, every week, every day. And so making sure that it was very clear that we were going to have the funding to stock the store on a monthly basis, that we were going to be able to make sure that the kids always have access to clothing and shoes. So I just think it's more about like longevity. A lot of people are just in it for the now, and I'm really in it for the long game. And so I really want to work with people that are understanding that it's not going to always happen tomorrow, and it may happen, in 2 or 3 years from now, but it's about the work that we do today that'll ultimately get us there. So I really just look for people that want to win, and as I said in the beginning, have good energy, because energy and just the vibes is just everything for me.
Yep.
Gooder energy.
Gooder energy.
I like that. Sheena, I want to toss that same question to you.
It took me a minute to catch that, but I got it.
I know, girl. Stop the cap. You see what I did there? That went over your head? I tried it. It was a fail. It's fine.
Working with, so it depends on the side. It's like a consumer coming or a person in general coming to work. 2 things, and I think this is being recorded, so I want to say this. 1, I'm sorry, I don't have time for you to pick my brain. That's number 1.
Thank you.
I literally I take time to mentor and give as much advice as I can, but I do not have time to stop to pick my brain. 2, I literally just create I'm in the process of creating something so that a lot of people come to me and say, I have this idea for an app. What do I do next? Mainly because my first company, I bootstrapped the company that was all about building apps when I had no app experience, and I built it to generate millions and millions of downloads. I'm actually creating a whole platform. So if you have an app idea, you can go to appitout.com, and I'm actually creating a whole platform if you have an app idea and don't know what to do from there. So that way I took some of my time in doing that. On the side of Capway, our primary is actually B2B2C anyway. So we work with schools, community organizations, municipalities, retailers, service providers. So in working with us, usually just contact us through the website, mainly, honestly, because we're mainly B2B2C. And then on the other end of working with us, we do a lot of outreach. I told our investors from the very beginning that we're not going to spend all of our money on social ads. Like putting ads on Instagram, Google is cool, but I wanted us to spend our money on actual doing social campaigns in communities. So a lot of our partnerships actually come from the social campaigns that we will be doing on the ground. I will say, for us, when it comes to partnerships from business to business or other brands, we are not a company who is looking to be acquired anytime soon. We're the company who is looking to acquire other companies.
Come on, independent banking.
Say that, sis.
So I I say that when building community, we look to acquire companies who are not always in the fintech space. A quick example I'll give is people thought Jack Dorsey was crazy when he acquired Tidal, and I was like, that makes all the sense in the world, because you can't keep doing the same thing in a circle and think you're going to reach a bigger audience. So we are, over time, we're raising money, we're scaling, and we're looking to acquire other companies.
Well, perfect. And so my real hardcore final question, because I do have we got to loosen up a little bit before we finish with the people. I'm gonna get to the serious one at the end. But this is a trapped out engineering conference, and so it would be wrong. I asked the people earlier. They gave me dust. They paid me crickets. When you think about trap, what artist and song comes to mind?
That's for everybody, right?
That's for everybody. There is no one exempt except for me. We're just not gonna go there.
It is being recorded. This is.
Ooh. Y'all knew where y'all was coming.
Laugh, but I like this song by Young Scooter called Jig Talk, and I just think that song, that was just like my song for no apparent reason, but that song, I still like, with you, I like T.I.'s ASAP and Motivation. Those are songs that I still
sent my
go
songs,
back
just so
to
y'all know.
as well. So I really am a trap me. I could go on and on, but I think those are like the three that stick out.
I'm gonna have to go pretty much anything Jeezy. And it's crazy because I'm that person, if you get in my car, it's gonna be 20 different genres in 2 minutes. It's pop, gospel, trap, R&B, Anita Baker. We going all around the world. But if I had to stick to trap, it's anything Jeezy.
So classic.
Trap music, I'm gonna have to piggyback off of that because of Thug Motivation and just thinking of Jeezy. But I'm like a drill music girl, so.
Well, say that then. What's your drill music song?
Yeah, I love Brooklyn drill, so yeah. So.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I mean, it's like Chicago drill, Brooklyn drill. It's all different versions. But yeah, I just love Brooklyn drill music, but I gotta give it to Jeezy.
Well, at Trap Music Museum, we believe that Tip, Gucci, and Jeezy equally created trap music. Jouts Mike, that's my answer. All of their catalogs. Somebody got that on tape?
That was the most politically correct answer on stage. That's a good one, KG.
That was politically correct. We love that. We love that. Okay, flats or drums?
Flats.
Yo, I legit got wings before I came, and I was like, yo, all
From where
flats.
though?
All flats.
From where though? Come on now. Come on, Sheena. I'm in your business, don't do that.
I was running late.
You went to Wingstop?
I had to stop conveniently on the way.
You went to Wings 101?
It was American Deli.
Oh, it's fine. It's okay.
Good one.
Ain't no problem. It ain't no problem. It ain't no problem. What flavor? What was the flavor though?
What flavor, Sheena? What flavor you got?
I got half and half. I got lemon pepper honey, lemon pepper, whatever. And I got barbecue, so it's half and half.
Barbecue.
I mean, it was a craving.
It was a gravy? Okay. Karen, flats or drums? When you're in Atlanta.
When I'm where?
When you're in Atlanta. I've been elsewhere. The wings ain't the same.
Okay, this gonna sound real greedy. It depends how hungry I am.
So you want the whole wing?
No. It just meaning it. So I'ma do flats. If I'm not too hungry, because then it's it takes a little bit more work.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
if I'm hungry, it's definitely gonna be a drum because it's one and done.
One and done. Clean the
That
plate.
sounds very greedy,
I wanted
but
to
yeah,
say
it depends. It depends on how hungry I am.
I'm not gonna tell you where I get my wings from.
Jazz?
I have no preference. Just give me a 10-piece. However it comes, it comes. I have no preference on the flats or drums.
What?
No preference.
I said no preference.
You know one tastes a little more moisturized than the others. One got a little more juice in it than the
I
other.
believe
You know
that
that.
all food should be treated equally. No food should go to
Good
waste.
answer.
Eliminate waste.
Politically correct.
Eliminate waste. That is a politically correct answer. Get that on camera. And last but certainly not least, I gotta know, if somebody wants to know where to come when they're in the city, what are you telling them? Where do they absolutely have to go? Whether it's food, an experience, a co-working space like the Gathering Spot, plug, bring me back. Let them know.
I'll go first. First, I want to say I put people who eat drums and Geminis in the same category.
Whoa. I'm gonna stand up on that one. Is it Gemini males? Is it Gemini males? Because we can retract
I
that
just put it all in the
statement.
same category. It's the same category.
I don't appreciate the slander, Sheena.
This
We were
ain't.
good.
I'm just saying.
I just want to say I like strip
I'm just
club
saying.
wings.
I just had to let it be known.
Pink pony
wow.
preferably.
If I had
Noted.
if I had to say one place to comp, well, first off, I've only been here 2 years, so
Same sis.
I kind of go to my office and home. But if I had to tell someone where to go, of course I'm gonna say the Gathering Spot because Ryan is a homie,
Yes.
and I'm always gonna support what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the Gathering Spot. Also, Gooder. We have an office off the Beltline, and we're opening a new office in December, which is really exciting. And I like Gio's Chicken. I know that's another one that I think is just, Gio's is so good. It's a really good one. So the salad dressing is amazing. I have got that salad dressing to go. So I like Gio's. Yeah, I love the Gathering Spot. I'm all about TGS for sure. So I had to say the Gathering Spot too.
Well,
We know your answer.
on three. 1, 2, 3. You definitely have to come to Trap Music Museum. You also have to experience our escape room, #1 escape room in Atlanta called Escape the Trap. Pull up on me. And I definitely, okay, so that pays bills, right? And I take the money from there to be here because I live at the Gathering Spot every day. If you're ever looking for me, this is where I'm at. I get my work done. I also get to have a meal. I get to network. Your network equals your net worth. So I'm always meeting new people, collaborating. And then I also get to have cocktails. Thank you.
I have two spaces I'll say that I absolutely love. One in Atlanta, but I'm from LA, so I'm gonna just still say the LA one. So Atlanta, I'm really excited about the Auntie's space, which is founded by artist and musician Tiana Taylor. So with that, it is basically a multimedia space she has created, being a female black woman who, I'm talking, if you think of kind of Tyler Perry's space, it's basically in the same realm, where it's a dance studio, recording, everything you can possibly think of that she is creating here for young women who want to be in the directing, just music, entertainment space. And in Los Angeles, it's always going to be the Marathon store, which was Nipsey Hussle's store, which is the, thank you, which is the not the number one, the only smart store in the United States. It's closed, the one on Crenshaw right now, but it's another one opening up we're really excited about on Melrose. So for people who haven't seen the one that was in the Crenshaw district, this one is basically gonna have the same experience, but even better. And what makes it have that smart store component is, with the Marathon app, when you go into the store, anything that's on the tag, videos play, you hold up a CD, and even before COVID and things were happening, we weren't big on sharing products and things like that. So it's like you hold up your phone, you can listen to snippets of the songs, down to if you hold up your phone to his billboard, to even if you have the t-shirt at home, if you ordered from the website and you put it on the tag, we have videos and different things that play. So it's such an amazing experience in there. So we are looking to reopen maybe by the end of this year or top of next year, but just put that back on your radar. It's such an amazing space.
It sounds spectacular. Okay, I'm excited. And so I like to end things on a high note. How about y'all? Yes. Was this amazing? Wait, don't get up. So before we get out of here, like I just said, I just want to end things by just uplifting ourselves, and hopefully that touches somebody else. So before the end of 2021, maybe you started the year with a word. How do you hope that your brand is received, not only just by this audience, but people who are watching or who see clips of this later? How do you hope that people receive you and your personal brand by the end of the year? We've been in a pandemonium for too long, and so I need something good to leave on.
Give yourself grace, you know, and extend it to the next person. We're all going through a lot. We thought whatever was the normal was going to return, and it's not. We have a lot of changes, and just give yourself grace, give yourself time. That's honestly the most important thing. Yeah.
I would say ending 2021, going into 2022, the energy, the vibe. I would say forgiveness. You know, I feel like there's just been a lot that's gone on this year, and just in the world, a lot of people have gone through so much. They may have rubbed you the wrong way, you may have rubbed them the wrong way. I just want to make sure that when you're going into the next year, you're leaving that in the past. You're going in with a fresh mindset, a fresh heart, so that we can just all genuinely be happy people. So yeah, I would say forgiveness.
So is it advice, or is it like how we?
Whatever you want to leave the people
I had a whole different answer. Now I'm like, forgiveness.
Drop the gems, sis.
So okay. Well, what I was gonna originally just say is how I would hope that, you know, I would end this year and start this year is that I want people to, you know, be open to solving problems in new ways. That's what technology is all about. That's really what I'm trying to do with Gooder. We were participating in doing canned food drives when we were kids. Now our kids are still doing canned food drives, and half of us don't eat food in a can. And so I'm trying to get people to start thinking about we can solve a big problem like hunger using technology in a different realm. And I really want people to be open to new ideas. And so I think that's also something I would leave with you guys, is just be open to new possibilities and new ideas and the good that change can bring.
I love what Karen said, like grace. I think it's huge. I'll say love as a community, but be okay with standing on your own. I always say that as long as you focus on proving yourself right, not trying to prove anybody else wrong, you're gonna always come out stronger.
Say that with your chest.
Yep. And I'm gonna just end this by saying, do you feel like you're in your bag now? If you weren't before? All right. Y'all give it up one more time for Sheena Allen, Jasmine Crowe, Krystal Garner, and Karen Civil.